led you to this decision?
Yeah, absolutely. Just ended up being a collective family decision for me, something that's been weighing on me daily. Just ended up sitting with my family and kind of assessing all the possibilities and realizing that there's just too many uncertainties, too many unknowns right now to go out there and truly just putting the health for my family and myself first and foremost.
Did this have anything to do with the current health situation that you have with the calf, or was this strictly just worries about COVID?
Strictly worries about COVID. My calf, I'm back to 100%. I threw 5 innings, 85 pitches in my last sim game, felt really good. I've been working extremely hard with the staff these past few weeks to get back out on the field. So this is not something that I wanted. This was a collective decision from my family for our best interests because I'm such a competitor. It was incredibly hard to finally come up with this decision.
And just real fast, out of curiosity, what, if anything, changed for you over the last number of weeks that made you less comfortable now playing than you were just a few weeks ago?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, obviously, you see the Cardinals, the Marlins. You see spikes everywhere in the country. You see protocols not being handled properly from citizens everywhere. You see us going to Florida soon. That was a big discussion I had with my family, going to see the Marlins. I don't think that's something where I'd want to be in that situation. So a bunch of things factored in, and ultimately, we finally just decided as a family that probably wasn't the best to continue forward this year.
Next question comes from Tim Healy.
Hey, Marcus, when did you ultimately come to this decision? I remember you spoke in camp about how you were comfortable with the situation. What was the thought process like in recent days or weeks or however long it was, or when that shifted?
Yeah, it was a multitude of conversations constantly. Honestly, that was my family that I was having daily. Obviously, the Mets have done an incredible job here. I truly believe that the Mets have done the best job handling all the protocols out of any team in the big leagues. I truly believe that. We're just deciding that there's too many outside factors to really go out there and risk it for my family. I have a few family members who have compromised immune systems. My grandma, my uncle, my mom, who's directly around all the time. So this was a decision that I had to kind of take myself out of it and really look out for the best interest of my family.
Thank you. And Brodie, what does this do for the rotation the next month and a half plus?
Well, right now we'll take inventory, so to speak. We'll work with the pitching coaches. We'll have a sit down. But we were living and surviving without Marcus. He's such a big part of who we are, both in terms of not only his talent but also his energy. And we'll miss him. There's no doubt about that. But what this team has shown already, and what I'm confident they will do going forward, is have the next man stand up and keep fighting. We recognize that there are all sorts of challenges associated with this season, and this is another one. But we're prepared to go forward, and that'll be our focus. And in the immediate term, this is about Marcus and wanting to make sure we're supporting him and supporting his family, and want to make sure that all players are factoring in their own individual circumstances when they make their decisions.
Next question comes from Andy Martino.
Marcus, I know you can only speak for yourself, but there has been some thought that as the season gets deeper in, there may be more players making this decision. I'm wondering if you've had conversations with any friends of the league or have a feel for if, as people who follow the game, we should be expecting more decisions like this, just league-wide, not necessarily with the Mets. Have these been a lot of conversations that you've heard?
To be honest with you, no. I think everyone's kind of making their own decisions, but like I said, I think the Mets are doing truly an incredible job every single day, handling protocols, safety. Like, you truly do feel safe here when you're at the clubhouse, and they're going far and beyond to make sure that we have that safety. So like I said, obviously the situations are different from team to team, but as far as being here in the clubhouse with the Mets, I truly felt safe, and I loved it every second.
And does it give you pause? You addressed this a little before, but to potentially play teams where you don't know if they've been as cautious, or there have been outbreaks with a few other teams, does that make did that change your risk assessment when other teams started to have some protocol issues?
I think I would be crazy to say no. Yeah, I think it affects everyone. I think you definitely see what happens not only with the teams, just kind of what's going on with the world, to be honest with you. And there's a bunch of risk everywhere. So, like I said, it was ultimately a decision with my family. I haven't competed in over a year, and I truly was looking forward, man, to coming back and being out there in the field. I had just thrown 85-pitch sim game. I was truly ramping up. And this is just something that, like I said, I had to step out of myself for a second and kind of really listen to the perspectives of my family, first and foremost, and hear them out.
Thank you.
Next question comes from Tony DeComo.
Hi, Marcus. Obviously, we've talked about the fact that you can become a free agent after this season. How much have you thought about the fact that you've potentially pitched your last game as a Met, and what is your interest level in coming back here?
Yeah, I mean, I obviously I talked to Brodie this morning. That was my first man I sought out to speak to, and we had a really good talk. And I truly let him know, man, it was a blessing for me, a breath of fresh air when I came over here to this organization. And I truly mean that from the bottom of my heart. I've loved everything, the staff, the people, the trainers, the clubhouse. I truly enjoyed showing up to work each and every day and being a part of this. So however it may play out in the future, obviously, yeah, I would love to be a part of what they have going on. There's a lot that goes into that, but I can't say enough good things about this organization and my time here and everybody that's been involved.
Thank you.
Next question comes from Howie Rose.
Marcus, if I can ask you two things here, as you alluded to how diligently you were working your way back with the sim game, just sort of the chronology of this thing. Had your family been leaning on you for some time to make this decision, and had that been weighing on you throughout the rehabilitation process? And if I can ask a second question, really kind of separate from that, does the irresponsibility of others around the league who have clearly caused their teams some serious setbacks exacerbated this situation to the point where you just maybe harbor some anger or even animosity towards those who have taken their teams at least temporarily down?
I'm gonna answer that question first because I forgot the first question. But yeah, I think definitely I wouldn't say that it's eye-opening. It just puts in it makes you realize how hard it is to truly make sure everything is being buttoned up 24/7 from every single angle. And obviously every story that comes out, everything you start to hear just increase in added risk. So it just got to the point, like I said, my family had been questioning me. We've had multiple talks on it over these last few weeks. And it was something that we ultimately collectively got to the point where we decided it was best to kind of opt out.
I think you answered them both. Thank you.
Next question comes from Mike Puma.
Brodie, I'm just wondering, do you consider yourself, are you shopping for rotation pieces right now? And what's your level of concern about the rotation right now?
Mike, I heard the second half of that. Can you just say it again? Do I consider myself what? I'm sorry.
Are you shopping for rotation pieces right now?
We're always going to look for ways to improve and add depth. Some of the transactions that we've made over the last several weeks are with that in mind, and we'll continue to do the same. I think in a shortened season with the trade deadline a couple of weeks away, we'll always have to look at near-term and long-term decisions. But we have a lot of confidence in the group we have here. It's, again, I can't stress enough that Marcus meant a lot to this team, and we know that he's got an incredibly bright future going forward. But David Peterson stepped up in his absence, and he's a young player that's pitching with confidence, and we'll have to continue to lean on his talents as well as some others. We got Robert Kesselman back the other day. We're starting to get some of our other pitchers rolling a little bit, and so we'll lean on those guys. And if there's an opportunity to find other pitchers to join the organization, then we'll explore it.
Do you see Gesellman as somebody who could possibly start?
Mike, I don't know if there was two parts of it. The last part of, do we see Gesellman as someone who can start? I'll answer that one. And if I missed something before, you can repeat, breaking up a bit. But yeah, we've always talked about Robert Gesellman's ability to pitch multiple innings. He's got a pitch mix that would allow him to start. We've talked about Seth Lugo in the past, and see how valuable he is pitching multiple innings, late in games. But we've got options. We've got other players that we think can contribute, whether it's in creative ways or we're stretching guys out to start. But Robert Gesellman is definitely a guy that we feel energized to have back in the fold.
Thank you.
Next question comes from Disha Dozar.
Hey, Marcus, you touched on your free agency a little bit, but I'm just wondering, the fact that you will have not pitched a single start this entire season, how much did that weigh on your mind when you're entering free agency?
I'm not worried about it, to be honest. I still consider myself one of the youngest, one of the best starters in the market. I'm fully healthy. So I'm just letting it kind of handle however it may play out itself. I'm truly not worried about it. It's not something I'm going to stress over. It took an incredibly long time to get to this point. So I'm just going to just kind of see how it plays out and go from there.
And then just second, what were some of your teammates' reactions to your decision?
Yeah, they're definitely upset, man. Like I said, I truly love this group of guys. Like I love this clubhouse. I love showing up here. The dynamic of this team, it's amazing, man. Everyone has this quiet confidence about themselves, and everyone just kind of goes about their business. So they were pretty upset, man. They were all very, very, very supportive, every single one of them. And they just let me know if I needed anything that I can always reach out, and they were hoping that I would be back next year. But like I said, the camaraderie that I was able to build with these guys over a short period of time was pretty special. And truly thankful to be around the staff, the trainers, Brodie, the Wilpons. I mean, everyone has made me feel at home, welcomed, and like a part of everything they had going on. So it's been a true blessing, honestly, being here and being a part of everything.
Thanks.
Next question comes from Joel Sherman.
Marcus, I believe if I'm reading your service time right, you passed the threshold to become a free agent while you were on the injured list just now. Number one, was that important to you? And number two, I mean, as you even said yourself, it takes a lot to get to free agency. Amateur, college, minor leagues. You had a serious injury for one season. Can you believe this is how you're going into free agency after probably all the work it took to get here?
No, man, I'm a guy who honestly lives in the present, man. I do not live in yesterday. I do not live in tomorrow. I take any positive out of any opportunity, and I'm more thankful to be at this juncture healthy, and going into free agency with the possibility of competing and performing anywhere next year. It excites me to compete and perform, and to know that I'll have a little bit of structure in my life, to know that hopefully I'll be settled down and not be pitching necessarily year to year, to have that deal where I could kind of feel settled. I only think it's going to do great things for me and my mental on the mound. So I'm looking forward to this opportunity. Like you said, obviously the times are unforgiving and the times are definitely crazy and weird, but I think you can only take the best out of any situation. There's no sense in feeling bad for yourself or worrying about the bad moments. So I truly just look for the good and hope everything plays out as it should.
Just to reiterate that first part, Marcus, was it important that you stayed on the injury list long enough to accrue the time to get where you're a free agent this offseason? I
don't even think that was a discussion at all. I was planning to come back and pitch. Like I said, if me being healthy was a thing, I don't think I would have been out on the field throwing my sim games, throwing my 90-pitch bullpens, if health was that much of a concern. So like I said, this was completely a decision by my family for COVID. Obviously, I knew that I was going to get to free agency at some point this year. So I wasn't really worried about that.
Next question comes from Justin Toscano.
Hey, Marcus, you kind of touched on the conversation with Brodie about truly enjoying being with the Mets, but in about a year, when you look back on this time, it was short, but how will you remember this time with the Mets? What will stand out most?
I truly remember coming over here and us you know what I mean, going on that little win streak last year, and the environment at Citi Field is something I'll never forget. The camaraderie, the guys in the clubhouse, the guys in the dugout. Those were, I felt like, playoff games that I was pitching when I came over here after the trade deadline last year. And I feel like that's kind of the excitement that this team can bring on a daily basis. So that's something I would always want to be a part of, is a team like that. I knew that every single guy on this team wanted me out on the mound and had confidence in me just from being here on a short time as well. So like I said, man, I have not one bad thing to say about my experience here, man. Like truly, truly, truly. And I'm not even trying to sugarcoat it at all. I've loved every bit.
Thank you.
Next question comes from Bradford Davis.
Hey, Marcus. I guess first is, is there anything that obviously, of course, I know you as we reiterated, you love competing and and would love to be back in orange and blue in a normal environment. But is there anything that you're particularly excited about, or looking forward to with I guess more time off, more time to recover, reflect, and plan for next year?
Just training and working out and doing anything I can to better myself for next year. That's honestly my goal, man. Always, like, I understand that this game, you have to truly adapt and change year to year. You can never become stuck in your ways. You have to always do something to take your game to the next level. And I always look at it as an opportunity. So I'm looking forward to getting in the weight room, going to see some guys, working with Rapsodo, working with all these pitching numbers, and coming back next year a different animal. I'm truly looking forward to that.
And thank you. And we've of course we know about the outbreaks and other teams and everything, but we also know that apparently the virus is still spreading with the Cardinals even after they had started to again, I guess, take things more seriously than they rumoredly had. Do you think that the protocols as written were sufficient for keeping people safe if they were followed?
It's hard to say, man. I don't want to really get into those. It's hard to say. The protocols are changing daily, and I think the MLB is trying to do their best job daily to update and to keep everyone kind of informed. But like I said, the environment that the Mets created here, I truly believe, I don't think there's another team doing it as well as they are. I don't. I think they have everything buttoned up to a science, and everyone's on the same page, and everything's moving very, very smoothly around here. So it's been awesome the way they've handled things. I can only speak from that perspective because it's the only one I've been around.
Oh, thank you.
Next question comes from Tim Britton.
Hey, Marcus, you mentioned the team's upcoming trip to Miami in particular as maybe a little bit scary. How much is travel a part of your decision-making process here? The idea of traveling, not just anywhere, but to a spot like Florida where things have been more difficult for them.
Yeah, that was definitely in conversations with my family. That was definitely part of it. I was in Florida, and it's just hard to see not everyone is taking the proper protocols all the time. So a lot of it's out of our control. You know what I mean? Even if we do everything perfectly around the clubhouse, we do everything perfectly, whether going to the hotel or back from the bus, like there's so many factors that can be out of our control that can kind of factor in and affect all of that. So that's just kind of what started to weigh. It was kind of accumulative of everything, not necessarily just one specific scenario, but I'd say travel definitely played into it.
And then for Brodie, you've had two guys now in the last week plus decide to opt out. Do you have a message for the rest of the clubhouse or anyone else who might have similar concerns at this point?
We talked about the challenges that we knew were coming, and as a team, we talked about health, talent, and motivation. And, those are the three things that were important to us when we started this season. And those are the three things that we're going to try to keep our focus on going forward. And, and I said before too, is that we're not going to quit no matter what comes our way. We're going to keep fighting together. We're going to support each other regardless of the decisions that are made. And we're going to do everything we can to compete every day. And I think that will continue to be our focus.
Thanks.
Thanks, Tim.
Marcus and Brodie, thank you for your time this afternoon.
Thanks, Ethan. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, guys.